Hey, welcome to another episode of the Review Lounge. I am your host, Jay.
I'm Jen.
And this week we are talking about, well, as people who review movies and TV shows, as not as a living, but for our friends on YouTube, every now and then you come across something that makes you just want to shit your pants in a way that you've never shat before. And we've come across that exact thing.
By accident,
once again, yes. We find this stuff so you don't have to.
Amazon, man.
Yes. It is the Mythica Saga.
The world of Mythica.
It is actually 5 hour and 45-minute movies that are all based around this one character. And they are all called Mythica. There is the first one, which is Mythica, A Hero's Quest. The second one, which is Mythica, Darkspore. The third one, which is Mythica, Necromancer. Mm-hmm. The fourth one, which is Mythica, the Iron Crown. And the fifth one, which is Mythica, the Godslayer. And all of these are an abject lesson in what the fuck. Like, for those who have been subscribed, you've seen us hit some stuff up as complete WTF material before.
Yes.
We have now reached new levels, completely new levels of what the actual fuck.
That's true.
With Mythica.
Keeping in mind that these are not high budget, high quality, high content films.
That you might have to be high to watch.
That you might have to be high to watch. But they're
See, here's the thing. Okay. Now these are fantasy. They're sort of a fantasy. It's a fantasy setting. There's wizards and magic. They actually specify there's
dwarves, elves.
Right, dwarves, elves, dragons. Your typical fantasy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's three types of magic. There is the magic from the gods, which is like a clerical sort of magic.
Healing. Mm-hmm.
There is magic using components. Those are your standard wizards. Using blood.
That they draw from
blood of ogre,
to create their magic,
and so on and so forth. And then there's necromancy, which is using the life force of others.
That's the no-no stuff.
Okay, so I mean, just to cut right to the chase. There is so much wrong in this series of 5 films. I'm a little bit lost as to where to start. But having said that, there's something kind of charming about them that you want to watch the next one. And I think that mainly has to do with the actors and actresses that were mistakenly roped into this thing. Because I found myself wanting to see the next movie, not because the story was that compelling, not because the visuals were that entertaining or any. I just wanted to see, can these same actors do another one? Like, there's another one in the series. Did somebody jump ship between productions? That was more of the. So let's cover some of the basics. Why don't you give us a little bit of the info about this?
The show starts off with basically the gist of it is it revolves around this one girl named Merrick.
She's played by Melanie Stone.
I have seen her in maybe one or two other Hallmark type movies. Okay. Which ironically enough, she stars in with her co-star. So they've worked together post and pre.
Right.
To the series, but
nobody will work with them after this. But go ahead.
Be nice.
Okay.
Keeping in mind that these are very independent films.
Yes.
They're all funded by
Kickstarter,
which is kind of like a GoFundMe for filmmakers.
Yeah.
And whatever they acquire through this is their budget for making these
Right. For
films.
instance, the first film had a budget of $94,000.
And it shows. But it's funny because as you watch these 5 films, you see that the further the films go, the more fans they acquire. Amazingly enough. And the more money they get for the
but there's only slight improvements.
There's only slight improvements through the series of the films, but I think the fifth movie was actually the best.
Who else is in this?
Anyway, we have Jake Stormon. I don't want to slaughter his last name, but it's spelled kind of funky. Who plays Dagon, who is
he's a half elf,
half human thief, and Merrick's love interest, kind of off and on.
Yes,
they fight a lot, which is kind of cute. They have Thane, who is the hired brawn of the group at first, and then
comes around,
and they all actually get really, really close together and a tremendous bond. And then you have Tila, who is the cleric / priestess.
Yes.
Who has healing powers.
Yeah.
And is kind of almost a seer, but not quite. Sometimes she sees things, sometimes she doesn't.
Right.
And then you have Gojin Pai,
who's played by Kevin Sorbo. Hercules. Kevin
Sorbo.
Yes, because clearly he needed money.
He's the star attraction of this series.
Yes.
But and then that's pretty much it for the core characters. And then you have
Zorlok.
Played by Matt Mercer.
Right, he plays the main bad guy, Zorlok.
Yeah, he does okay. He holds his own, but yeah.
I agree with that entirely. So
it's all these films are all done by Arrowstorm Entertainment.
Yes.
And they also have quite a few other fantasy sci-fi type films on Amazon if you're looking.
Yes.
And they're all pretty much done the same way. They're done through Kickstarter. They're done through the fundraiser for filmmakers, or fundraising website.
Yes.
For filmmakers.
The long and short is Merrick, the main character, played by Melanie Stone. She starts off as this indentured servant girl. Mm-hmm. She doesn't know who her parents were. She was orphaned and then eventually sold into slavery. So she's this indentured servant girl. And through a series of circumstances, she finds herself
having experiences with these powers, but she doesn't know what they are.
Right. She's starting to access these powers, but she's not sure where they're coming from. So then that starts her on her quest to basically get her freedom and her independence.
Find out who she is.
She speaks to Gojin Pai, Kevin Sorbo's character. He's sort of like the Gandalfish sort of character to her Frodo, if you will. Which sort of sets her on this path of this adventure. And along the way, she meets Dagon, the half-elf thief. She meets Thane, the fighter. She meets Tila, the priestess. And overall, they're trying to get these pieces to the Darkspore, which is apparently some evil Lich King's heart that was broken into 4 pieces. And if you
kind of like the rings in Lord of the Rings.
If you can put them all together, you can control the army of the undead and basically be, all powerful.
The god.
Right. And so they set off on this adventure, which spans all 5 movies, culminating in the last movie. So for me, as a kid who grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons a lot, and yes, I fully admit I was one of those Dungeons and Dragons nerds. I kind of got that D&D vibe from it, and for me, that was one of the appealing features of it. You got that very old school D&D vibe from this, where you have.
I never played D&D, but yes, I.
Right, like you have your party, and everybody's got a job: a thief, a fighter, a cleric, a magic user, and so on and so on. So that was one of the pluses for me. One of the few pluses for me. One of maybe 3 pluses for me, let's be honest.
There were some moments throughout the 5 films that were just absolutely hysterical and just funny in their own right. And it's not even because, the cinematography, which was shitty, which it was, and the special effects were shitty, which they were.
I've seen kids in high school learning After Effects put out better effects than some of the shots.
I know. Some of the parts were really, really bad.
Were horrid.
Really bad. But it did pull itself out of the gutter
To give you an example, okay, quality-wise,
Yeah.
like in terms of like the visual effects and production value and stuff like that, you're looking at a series of 5 movies that are all just under 2 hours, with the quality of the old Xena Warrior Princess or her legendary Adventures of Hercules, the TV series that were on the CW back in the early 2000s. All of these movies are of that quality, which would have been fine if they had come out around that time.
Right.
But almost 20 years later, you figure somebody would have invested in at least a laptop to do some of these. Like, I mean, it's just bad.
It is.
And then there's other things too, like over the course of 5 movies, and now mind you, this is a fantasy setting, dragons, you know, go with all the normal fantasy tropes in movies. Think Lord of the Rings or whatever. Out of the 5 movies, there are approximately 3 horses. 3 horses that make an appearance in movie number 4, and only 2 of them made it to movie number 5, because I guess the third one was like, I'm out, this is crap. I don't know how you have a fantasy series of 5 movies, you don't budget for at least a couple of horses. Like, these people walked everywhere.
Yeah, they did.
Like,
the entire series of movies was them walking somewhere.
Yes.
It's
until they got that little apparatus thing, which to me...
Oh, the battle wagon.
The battle wagon, which looked like a Hyundai that somebody dropped plywood on top.
It was a smart car with a box on it.
Yeah, and it was dressed up to look like it was this medieval fantasy contraption thing, but it looked like something. It looked like a parade float, is what it looked like to me.
It did.
So there was that. The writing, it was there, like they spoke the words of the English barely. Like
the story itself was good.
Conceptually, the story's good.
Conceptually, the story was very good.
The problem with this entire series of movies is, I think conceptually it was really, really good. But when it came time for the execution, they so dropped the ball, it was not even funny. It was like, conceptually, you know, it was okay. It was, you know, almost like your average Dungeons and Dragons adventure spread out over 5 movies, which is great. But just the execution was so bad and so horrid, that it was hard to get past. You know, I mean, I was cracking up in parts that I know were not meant to be funny. You know what I mean? I was just, because they were just so bad. Like, there's one scene in the first movie, they have to go rescue the cleric Tila from the clutches of these evil warrior guys that have been sent out to do the evil master's bidding. And they make a point of stressing that they are now, like our heroes, are now coming up to the main encampment of the baddies. The main encampment. Like, this is like the Mordor of this series. Like, they're coming up to, like, this is where evil comes from. This is evil's homeland. And then they show it.
They're like, oh, there's so many orcs
there's so many orcs there, and there's like 10 guys.
They pan around and there's like 10 guys.
There's like 10 guys in orc costumes looking like they're all kind of trying to figure out where the craft services truck is. You know? And it was just like, what are you doing?
I think one of the only saving graces of this entire series is the core talent.
The actors.
That's what
and
I mean.
Actresses.
That's what
yes,
I mean.
Yes.
The core talent of those 5 people, and because they do have a sense of humor, they brought it to they brought it to the camera. They do have the ability to show drama, show emotion.
Yes.
To the point where you believe it, and that core unit of talent is what pulled the whole series off.
The comedic moments, 9 out of 10 times didn't work. There was 1 or 2 where they did, especially Zombie Girl. There was 1 or 2 where
whoever that girl is, I did not get her name.
But she deserves an Oscar.
Oh my God, she was funny.
She was hysterical.
And she didn't even say anything.
Yeah, she had like 3 lines in the whole thing. But yeah, like the dialogue was flat, the visuals were nothing impressive. It was filmed in Utah. It was filmed
was.
in Utah. But whatever, I digress. The writing seemed like the writers kind of just made it up as they went along and thought, this would be good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Some of the comedic moments didn't work, and then there were other serious moments that I was laughing hysterically at.
Right.
So
like her wooden lightsaber.
Oh my God. In the fourth movie of this, at one point, the main character, Merrick, played by Melanie Stone.
She walks with the staff.
She walks with the staff, but it's collapsible. And the half-elf thief, they're fighting off these bad guys. And he tosses her, her staff so she could use it as a weapon. And he tosses her staff, and she sort of grabs it out of the air and spins it around behind her to kind of like get it to...
she twists it when she fights.
Right,
and
to get it to
whatever.
extend. But as she does that and it extends, I kid you not, I am not even joking, they use the lightsaber ignition sound, that whole...
I did.
And I literally had to stop, and I was like, did they just fucking use the lightsaber sound? And you were like, I don't know. And so I rewound it and played it again. And yes, they did, which caused me actual physical convulsions. I was convulsing in the bed like, what the hell are they doing?
Barrett.
Calm down,
It made my brain hurt.
I know. I could tell.
Yes, my cerebral cortex melted.
Your synapses were just like...
They were just like, fuck it. So, would I recommend watching this? Yes. If you are extremely bored and you have access to alcohol. Speaking of which, because now replaying this in my mind, Jen's got a drink recipe. And
Just a little one.
She's going to share it before we go any further.
It's a little one. It's simple. It has 2 ingredients plus ice.
Share with the crowd.
I'm going to share with the crowd. We have glass. This is the glass, by the way. I always use this glass. It's a good size. We have ice. We have Fireball.
That's it. Okay, Fireball.
Little bit, because last time we made a drink with this,
we overfired the ball. Yes, we did.
Jeez, did we ever? Rum chata.
Rum chata.
Rum chata. You stir it up. Now, typically, this is called a rum ball.
A rum ball?
A rum ball.
A rum ball.
However, given the topic of our episode this evening,
what are we calling this?
We are going to call this Cleric's Fire.
Cleric's Fire.
Because it's subdued, yet feisty.
In case you're wondering, I'm going to insert...
I'm
going to insert a cheesy effect here for the Cleric's Fire.
Cleric's Fire.
I'm going to Mythica this.
Or you could just do, like, the fairy.
Yes, there is a scene where they get attacked by fairies. Like, this big. They get attacked by fairies this big. And they do a close-up on Melanie Stone, and there's a fairy in her face, and she's doing the cross. You could do it better than I do. Yeah. Yes. There's going to be clips while we're talking about this, because otherwise nobody would believe this.
No,
so, all right.
We'll show some of the highlights while we're ending here and doing the drink and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're just too good not to share.
All right, so I'm going to drink the Cleric's Fire.
Cleric's Fire.
Here we go. That's good. I like it. I like it. Yes, I like this drink. It's clericy and fiery.
Subdued, yet feisty.
It's cinnamon, yet not too cinnamon.
Ha-ha.
Yes, it's good.
Victory.
I like it. Cleric's Fire. It
Can
gives
I have a
wait your turn, woman.
You've had 3. Thank you.
So I mean, for you guys, like I said, if you have like a Saturday or a Sunday, you got nothing to do, you're looking for some time to kill. If you've got Amazon Prime, you can watch all the Mythica movies. They are free on Amazon. Yeah, that's about how I was by the end of the 5th movie. They are free on Amazon Prime. You can check them out on Amazon Prime. They're also on Vudu, as well as a couple of the other you know, B-level streaming services. You can check them out for free, or you can rent them through Amazon. But quite honestly, even at $2.99 for each movie, I wouldn't rent them. But
you probably find them on YouTube. Can you find them on YouTube?
I don't know. You can find parts and trailers on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah. So overall, you know.
Like I said earlier, it's something if you have a lazy weekend or something like that and you have absolutely nothing to do, it's probably the best thing in the world just to chill, grab a drink and just binge watch all 5 movies, because it's really entertainment value alone. It's not that bad.
No. Like I said, it's charming. It's got a charming quality to it, and I think that's mainly from the actors involved.
The actors themselves, the core actors are really good. They what's that word? They mesh really well.
Mesh really well. Yes.
And that chemistry is there.
Yes.
It's definitely there. There's tons of funny moments, lots of what the fuck moments.
Yes.
So if you're into that kind of thing and you just want to be entertained on a nothing to do weekend, it's probably perfect.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would wholeheartedly agree with that. So, having said that, thank you for watching this episode of the Review Lounge, and well, you can give them the spiel.
We are on the Book of Faces. You can find us on the Book of Faces.
We are on the Book of Faces.
We're also on the Twit.
We are on Twitter. we are on Twitter. You can find us at review_lounge on Twitter. You can also find us on Reddit. And that link will be below. You can also email us directly at thereviewloungeshow@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Comment. We love comments. Anybody who's commented, and we've had a couple of comments in some of the videos recently over the past couple of days, we get back to you as quickly as possible. We like hearing from you guys, and that's kind of half of the reason why we do what we do. We like hearing from people.
Before we forget, thank you everyone so much. We hit over 600 views.
Yes.
On our Top Gun Maverick reaction episode.
So yes.
So thank you everyone for liking our episode.
That one just keeps climbing. That one just keeps going up and up like Maverick. So but yes, so remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video if you'd like, and if you feel like, comment. Like I said, we do love hearing from people. We like getting other people's opinions on the things that we're talking about. If you've seen any of the Mythica movies, comment below. Let us know what you thought. Are we completely crazy, or are you still recovering as well? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So, on that note, I think we are done here. We're going to go have some more Cleric's Fire and call it a day. So, again, on behalf of myself, Jay,
Jen,
thank you for watching the Review Lounge. We will see you next episode. Peace.
This is good.